All right, welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2020, and I am your host, Kim Matina. I am a Google certified trainer and educator, as well as a gold product expert for the Google for Education team and a technology teacher. And today, I am so happy to have on my show Mr. Eric Guise. He is a fellow New Jersey teacher, so New Jersey rules in the house
And
tonight.
Jake,
Woohoo! Eric's got a lot going on. He teaches, actually, he is a technology coach and he's a media specialist, and he is one of the co creators for the Got Tech Ed podcast. So, welcome to the show, Eric.
thanks for having me, Kim. It's awesome to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad that we were able to connect tonight. Like we were saying before, life happens. So I appreciate your flexibility with me having to reschedule.
It's all good. I think one of the greatest characteristics of a teacher is that we're all very flexible. I think we've shown that over the last 6 months, and we'll probably be showing it for a little bit longer.
This is true. And in life, right? With your family and everything, you have to
Absolutely.
be flexible. That's the way it is. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I always like to start with my family. I have a beautiful wife named Carrie. I have three amazing kids. They keep me young and old at the same time. They're 5, 2, and 1. Boone, and Briggs. We like the bees, apparently.
What are their
Uh,
names? Boone, Briggs, and what?
Bo.
Bo. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So we have three bees.
Very nice.
They're very active, so I'm very active.
Well, you
Um,
have to be when they're young like that.
Absolutely. We just now got into sports. T-ball is very fun, but they are a lot different than high schoolers. I will tell you that. Like,
You're in for the long haul, Eric.
I can't wait.
It's
I can't
awesome.
wait. It's going to be an awesome ride. So I'm good with that. Yeah. So I was a bio teacher for 10 years, and then I switched over to the tech coach for the last 6. Um, I am a podcaster like yourself for Got Tech, and I have a co-host named Nick Johnson. He's amazing. Um, we are a tech podcast, so what we do is we don't really focus on Microsoft or Google. We like to dabble in all the different extensions, apps, things like that. We go over them. We come up with ways that you could use them in projects, and then we kind of push out content to whoever wants it. They could have it. We really just like contributing back to our profession. Like you said, pay it forward. We like to pay it forward. So,
Exactly. That's what it's all about, right? Because we're better together.
absolutely.
I agree 100%. So I'm glad. I appreciate everything that you do, and I'm glad to have you as part of my PLN and my circle. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean it's just awesome. Our PLN, we have so many really awesome educators. A lot of them which we both had on our shows and everything, and some recently. I think you went um, over the pond for a interview, which was really awesome. And like I told you earlier, that's a hard one to follow up. He was so good. So
Oh, that's no. Listen, Darren is a bundle of knowledge, but he seems to be very down to earth. So and true to
he's
himself. So
he's very he's a very fun guy from what I know of him, which is very little. But
yeah. Well, he seems like he enjoys it. Let's just put it that way.
absolutely.
So no, you don't have to fill anybody's shoes, just your own.
I know, I know. So,
So I know today that we're going to be talking about choice boards, and I
yeah,
think this is going to be a great topic because you're going to talk about how standard-based grading can be incorporated with choice boards, and with all of the things that are going on now with the pandemic and with schools and stuff. This is going to be a great way to focus to student-driven learning and instruction and giving the kids choice to be able to accomplish a task. So I really like we were discussing before we went live, like my school district is going to standard based learning or grading. So for me, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about it. And the choice boards, like I always use choice boards. Like I can't get enough of choice boards. So I would it's nice to be able to talk to somebody else in that frame of mind, and then compare and learn.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good talk, and I feel like every time I sit down and talk with somebody about this, I learn as well, which is the beauty of all this. But what started me on standards-based grading was I heard Rick Wormelli talk. I don't know if you know Rick, but fantastic speaker. He's on YouTube. Go check him out. He really challenges the way that you think and the way that you do things. Are you doing things because they're the norm, or are you doing things because that's what's best for the students? And when he came in and talked, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fad stuff. This will go in and it will leave and everything. But really, after reflecting, I'm like, a lot of this makes sense. And he made a lot of sense. I was very motivated by him back then. And this was probably 7, 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I continue to be motivated by him. So basically, when you look at standards based grading versus traditional, let's just break it down a little bit. Traditional grades 0 to 100%. Standards, you're actually looking to make sure that you have mastery or proficiency of something. Okay. When you look at grades 0 through 100, you're always comparing a student to other students. But why do we do that is the question. So standards based grading, you're comparing an earlier form of the student to where they are now. And to me,
Based
that,
on the standard, though, right?
yes, based on each individual standard. So we always say we want the class average to be a 75. Why? Why do we want it to be a 75? And I know there's grade inflation and all that, but we want to look at how the student progressed throughout the year, and that's what standards-based grading will do. So I had to throw that out about Rick because I wouldn't be here talking about this if I haven't sat in an auditorium where he was lecturing. Well, not lecturing, but talking with us.
And so make sure you put his name in the show notes, because I'd like to reference his, or if you
I'll
could
put,
just put it in the private chat, I'll put it in the show notes. I have it up on the screen.
all right, I could get you that, and I'll also get you his YouTube channel
Okay, cool.
as well. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right. So basically, with the standards based grading, and this is something Nick and I kind of, I mean, it's knowledge that's already been out there, but we put it in a way that made sense to us. And we call this targeted learning, and we use a target basically. And the bigger circles on the outside, that's what we do at the beginning of each unit or chapter, such as research. And as you start getting more formative assessment in there, summative assessment, you're working towards that target goal. So that's what targeted learning is to us. And this is how it made sense to us as far as telling whether or not a student has accomplished mastery. So the middle is where we would put our standard or whatever task that we want our student to accomplish. And the way that we do this throughout the whole research, formative assessment, summative assessment is we make these choice boards. Choice boards empower students to take hold of their own learning. This gamifies the activities a little bit. This one happens to be of a tic-tac-toe board. Now, I just did the bare bones choice board here. I didn't try to make it visually appealing. I just wanted to kind of show you what it is. This one is a bingo board. So what they have to do is they have to get bingo, but they have to do activities that's going to help them learn to accomplish that standard. Here's a learning menu, and this one is not ours. We went out to the web and we saw this, and we just grabbed it real quick for a visual. This summer, I have started doing the Bitmoji scenes, and I am not a creative, artistic type. So this is about as good as you're going to get for me. If you want to see a creative type, I would usually go to Nick for that. But this is
Honestly, Eric, I think your Bitmoji scene is great. You know why? Because
why is
it's
that?
not overstimulating. It's plain, but it gets to the point. Some in my opinion, some of them are way too busy, and it you get lost in it. Like, to me, this is simple. and it's clean. It's not cluttered.
So what you described there, that's kind of how I describe myself. Very simple. I don't know if I would go clean since the start of pandemic. I'm very loyal to my barber, and she's not back yet. That's why I'm wearing a hat today. But um, yeah, I mean, I like simple. This is pretty simple, but this is 3 activities, and this would be in formative assessment category. I have a gift newspaper, a digital board game, which I will say that I made this over a year ago. Since then, Paula from Slides Mania blew my socks off with one of hers. So make sure you go check out Paula. She is a saint in education. She's so
Oh,
great.
she's got like so many templates, and they're free, and they're aligned with Google Slides and or PowerPoint. So definitely go to Slides Mania.
Yeah,
Um,
we appreciate Paula very much. And then there's an interactive slide, which is like a choose your own adventure board. But this is just a choice board assignment. They would go click on that and they would get their instructions for that individual assignment.
Now, let me ask you something, Eric. Before you move on, when they click on the choice board, do you take them to, like, say they do the interactive slides? Obviously, that's going to open up a Google slide deck. But do you take them to like a hyperdoc or a Google slide hyper slides or anything like that, or where, you know what I mean? Like, do you take them somewhere else?
Yeah, it goes to, I force copy a slide deck that's already a template for them. So this would take them to a slide deck, and the first slide is the directions of how they would manipulate that slide deck to whatever they're using. If I already made the activity, it would just take them straight there, it would give them directions, and they would go play the game or whatever it is. But if I want them to make it, which if you have time, I would suggest anytime that you can have them make a game and then play someone else's, that's 2 different stimulations of the brain. And I think that goes a lot further than just playing the teacher's already pre-made canned questions
Yeah,
game.
that's a good point that you say. It's kind of like, peer feedback, right? Because when
Well,
when you play your own game, you're kind of, how to get around certain things. You're only thinking like one way, where when you give it to somebody else, they're thinking a different way, and they may do something different than what you have, you know, put into your game.
yeah, absolutely. Another reason why I like it with all the different groups of students making a game, you can often, as a teacher, catch misconceptions, and that's really what you want to break down are those misconceptions that students have. So I think I think that's a great way of doing that. It's kind of when you look at multiple intelligences, some people are visual, some people auditory, whatever, that gives them more than one there by having them create their own game.
Yeah, I totally agree. It stimulates a different part.
Yeah. So, um, and then when you are at the end of this, you can have standards for the whole chapter. You could have individual standards. Your choice board can be more than just one standard. I just wanted to throw that out there. But I wanted to hop back to this slide because what does each one of these look like? Your research base could be, your choice board could be Ed Puzzle with guided notes. It could be a screencast with guided notes or some type of a lecture with guided notes. Now, Ed Puzzle and screencast, you could do this virtually. You could also do this in class. Lecture would obviously be in class. So, you know, you can be creative on how they're going to get this information. So as we move into the formative assessment, this is, in my opinion, the most important part of this whole target, because this is where students get feedback that shape their understanding. We have instant feedback, and these are our quiz and gamification type activities. So one of my favorites is GimKit. We have quizzes, Kahoot. You have some of the interactive things in Pear Deck and Nearpod. You have escape rooms. I like to just make puzzles. So if it's not a whole escape room with multiple puzzles, I'll just make one. And that will be my do now for that day. And I think that's awesome. And all these will allow you to get instant feedback to your students. They'll know whether they got it right or wrong and what they have to work on. But let's talk about the things that take a little bit more time, the personal reflections, paragraph writing, uh, essay writing, things like that, that are going to really shape the depth of their knowledge. How are we going to get students feedback that is near instant? So if everyone is writing a one-page personal response and a teacher is writing down everything and then sending that out, that's going to take forever. So what can we use tech-based that is going to shorten this process for virtual learning? We have our screencasts. We use those to make lectures basically come alive. But why don't we use screencasts to provide feedback? Hey, this is a great opening sentence. Hey, you did a nice job linking, your main idea with your evidence and your analysis and linking it all together. We could throw that in a screencast. I think,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, people think of screencasts, I think, as providing the content.
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think people think of screencasts as providing feedback, especially um where they want to be able to type something. And I think if you just do like an audio comment, like to me, that the students are hearing your voice and they can tell if you're excited about what they wrote or not, you know what I mean? Like, so the tone of your voice gives them some type of connection, and you're building that relationship with them too. They're just not reading it and then taking it out of content.
Absolutely. And you could do that through a screencast, but there's a Google extension out there called Moat that I really like.
Yeah, I
It
like
will
that one too.
it will not only give them the verbal comment, but it would also transcribe it. So some people don't like the verbal comments; they rather have the transcripted comments. So it will do both, and I think that's awesome. So Mode is definitely one of my favorites. You have a good one, Google Keep. It's amazing when you if you make your little stickers, you could drag them into their essays or their Google Slides. Drag a little sticker or something in there to let them know that they did something well. You can make a rubric in Google Keep and put parts of the rubric on each individual slide. So if this slide needs improvement in this area, you make that sticker one time in Google Keep and you drag it over, and now it's in, and they have feedback, and it's quick and easy.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I like that method. I never really used Google Keep within Google Slides. Like I know it's there, but I never thought of that. That's interesting. I like that. That so what do? You just put like your expectation and then
Yeah,
or do
so
you put your whole entire rubric in there? What do you
I
do?
give them my whole entire rubric. I put it on their last slide. And then after that, what I do is I take pictures or snapshots of each row. So if they're if they did a project and their first thing is hometown of the person that they're looking up, I'll put the row of on the rubric, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 for hometown information, whatever description goes underneath there. Um, and then I will pick which one that they got. So if they got 2 or 3 out of the 4, I would drag the 2 or the 3 over to that slide. So then know exactly what they need to work on, what they need to improve to get to that mastery level.
So you take every single expectation for that score, and you make you make an individual keep note for each one,
Yeah,
and
no,
then you slide that over into that's interesting, and
yes,
then you put your rubric at the last slide of the Google slide deck.
correct.
Oh,
I put it on the last slide so they have it for reference, but every little snapshot that I take, I make sure the score is there. So if it is the first thing that's there, it would be hometown, and then it would be the score. And then underneath it, it's just a general description of things that are typically not there or things that need to be added in order to get them higher. And you just throw that in there and you move on. And
that's cool. I like I that's a really good technique. I really like that. I'm gonna share that if that's okay. I really like that because it's already there. It's
I,
already there. Like all you have to do is build it into the Google Keep notes.
I can't lie to you. I learned about that at the Garden State Summit like 4 years ago. And I really was looking at Google Keep and I was like, I'm probably not going to use this. But then later on, I was like, whoa, I remember this. I'm going to use it. And unfortunately, I forget who to give credit to. But I will tell you, it was not me. And but I made it work for the way it would be if I would run it in my classroom. And that's key here. Take something you like, modify it for your own needs, make it yours, and go use it.
Now, did you find the kids actually like, was it useful to them? Were they responsive to that type of feedback? I know you're in high school, so I would think that it wouldn't have been a big deal for them, but what were your thoughts about their responses to it?
Well, I always made sure that I did some type of personalized comment at the end as well. But they like this because it gives them direct, specific direction. And it's a lot better than just putting 89 at the top on red pen and circling it. So they seem to like it, and I seem to get better results from that.
Okay, well then that's good. All right.
So I would definitely use that one. You also have many different tricks around just doing Google comments. If you have a group document and they're all typing in there, and you use the plus sign, and then the name of the person at the name of the person, it will assign that to them, and they're the only one that can answer that part of the document. And really, you could do this across all the Google, apps. And I just started using this in Google Sheets. I
Okay.
gave them a task to do, and I would highlight that whole row, put plus at, and then the person's name, and then everyone can get to that Google Sheet, but only one person can change it. And I think getting these little tidbits in there allows us to not go out and buy something for a purpose that we could have like a little hack or workaround and
Right.
be successful with that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's a workflow, and it has people have to know about it, you know?
Right. So I want to go down to kind of the tech basis behind all this, which is the technology integration matrix. The technology integration matrix, it takes SAMR. So this is a framework, and what it does is it takes SAMR across the top, and then on the left side, it has the 5 levels of technology integration. And what this does is makes a matrix. So I'll share that real quick, and this will be in the show notes. But here it is. You have entry, which is kind of like substitution. And as you go across, SAMR's A is adoption in the tech integration matrix. The M, modification, is adaption. And then the R, redefinition, is broken into 2 in the tech integration matrix: infusion and transformation. And there's a description here of what each one of those includes. On the left side, it's your different types of learning. You have active learning, collaborative, constructive, authentic, and goal-oriented. But the really big reason why I like the technology integration matrix, or really it's a couple of different ways. It forces the teacher to reflect on their practice. Before they do a lesson or after they do a lesson, where did that lesson fit? And if you really look at this on the left side, this is our teacher-led stuff. This is usually stuff that we get with lectures and things of the traditional fashion. And as you work your way to the right, you start getting the student-centered piece of it, and students taking ownership of their learning. So if you look at any individual matrix, I'm going to go to constructive and transformation. If we click on more here, the reason why I really like this is it tells you what the students are doing in this scenario. It tells you what the teachers are doing in this scenario, and it's telling you what the setting looks like. And if you scroll down, there's video lessons that show you exactly what this looks like in a real classroom. And this whole site is a wealth of information. It has all the slide decks if you want to incorporate this. If you're a SAMR school right now, this is really just taking your tech integration to the next level and being more mindful of why you're using that technology in the classroom.
This is a nice, I'm going to definitely look at it. I've never seen it before until now. So I definitely would like to look at it because I design a lot of my lessons through the SAMR model. And now with, like we were talking before, with remote learning, all of our teachings have to be bumped up now because we shouldn't be doing substitution anymore. With remote learning and virtual learning, everybody should be doing the higher end. So this will actually give you more detail of how to get there, which is nice, and examples. So I definitely want to check this out because you get to, like, I don't know if you experienced this with your kids, Eric, during remote learning last year, but I heard, like, I didn't have kids last year. My role in the spring was I was doing ed tech support. So I wasn't interacting with kids. I was teaching the teachers and stuff. So um, I heard from a lot of different teachers that they got bored. They got bored easy. So if you're constantly doing a flip grid all the time, then they're going to lose the engagement and lose that interest. So teachers have to kind of reinvent their lessons again and recycle them through maybe a different tool. And this will help guide them through that, I think. Right? Did you experience that last year or March?
So I was in a similar situation as you, where I took over full tech coach duties, where I was just a support system for any teacher in the district. And we did many professional developments. I did one-on-one stuff. But I did get the same feedback that students were like the Kahoots and things like that. They like them, but it would start coming to be the new worksheet.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
And really, all these programs, they have made so many great modifications to them that's going to make it a little bit more refreshing. But as teachers, we need to do kind of some reflection to see how we could use the tools that we have at our disposal and use them in a different purpose. You have Google Slides. Well, how can we have students take ownership of a slide? Well, we could do a virtual gallery walk where every student gets a slide. They have some type of objective that they have to accomplish. They decorate their slide in any way, shape, or form. There's that new extension. I think it's by Clay Codes. It's
Yeah, that's
record slides,
yeah,
maybe.
that's a really good extension.
It's it's phenomenal. It's a
Yeah.
phenomenal extension. And the thing is the students can work on that, and you could do. It's almost like they're giving a tour of their slide using that extension.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's
narrating their work.
yeah, that's a new way of making a slide something different, something more interesting. Have them pick their topic or have them have a little bit of say or choice. Then we're building on these fundamental blocks that make lessons successful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in order to do that, you have to reflect, and you have to, I'm going to say recycle, but you have to bump it up and change it up a little bit to keep them engaged, because they get tired, they get bored. And I think you mentioned it too, which I think is a good point. The gamification is something that occur, like they're naturally engaged in that type of environment. So I think when you gamify things and give them options and choice, I think it's even more luring for them.
Absolutely. I mean, it works not only in education but out in real life. I mean, it's amazing how loyal people are for their coffee or their subs or whatever based on stamps or stars. I mean, we want that prize. We're going to end up paying for that prize, but we're playing a little game along the way.
Yeah, the Monopoly game, right?
Correct. The Monopoly game's a great one. I remember McDonald's used to have that, and now there are other businesses that go off of that model. But really, it's all the same. You want them to find some safe competition or safe gamification in the classroom, virtually or in the classroom. So I think that's a great point. I mean, students, they want they want teachers to take chances on trying to bring new ways into the classroom. And you know what? If you go in there and it's a big flop, that's great.
It
You
doesn't
learn from
matter.
it, and
Exactly.
it's a great example for your students.
I can't agree with you more. That's what I tell everybody. I tell everybody, if you fail or if it doesn't work, don't worry about it. Just move on. It's a learning experience. You just modeled, fail, and you just move on. You set an example. And then if something doesn't work tech wise, you ask the kids. They know, they probably can figure it out before you can.
There's a lot more of them that hopefully one of them understands it, and they probably do. You're exactly right. But think about it this way: when we're in class, students are uncomfortable when they don't know something. But what do we do as teachers? We give them guided questions that help them get back to comfortable or equilibrium. We got to do that as teachers too. We got to be uncomfortable so we learn, and we're going to pick up new skills that are going to make our whole teaching practice be broadened a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
And if you fail, you find a way to change it. And guess what? You're back at that equilibrium and you're expanding your practice at the same time. So
Yeah, I agree. I tell the kids like right up the front, like right up front. I'm not an expert. We're all in my room to learn together and we share and learn together. And I think, when you're honest with them and they see you being authentic like that, I think they feel a little bit more comfortable sharing with you. You know what I mean?
it becomes more of a family.
Yeah,
They, it, when people see you at your most vulnerable state or at a vulnerable state, that's when you get growth with one another. There's trust that comes with that. There's growth. There's a sense of family, and for some students, unfortunately, that is the most sense of family that they have in some cases.
yeah,
So
I agree. That I think that let's end on that note because that just summed it all up, right? Like, so that goes to show that you're authentic and you're making relationships and connections with the kids, especially during the unknown, right? We all have to be open and willing to take a chance now. And when your kids, like you said, when your kids see you maybe struggling or need assistance, they're going to help you, because they feel good when they do that. They're like, "Oh, I'm helping the teacher." So it's full circle, I think.
it's absolutely full circle. And you put it beautifully at the beginning of the episode that, we're all in this together and we're all better together. I mean, that's really the essence of all of this. And I hope that this carries on into teaching well beyond this pandemic, because, it's only going to, even though this pandemic is a terrible thing that's happening, there are positives out of it. We are becoming better teachers. We're becoming better in the technology realm of teaching, but we're also learning to be a better communicator, a more well-rounded communicator, because now we have different ways of reaching out, and because we know our students a little bit in a different way, maybe we can connect with those kids that we had a tough time connecting to in person.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just having this conversation with somebody else. And like you said, the pandemic is horrible and everybody's going through, their own version of it. But if you take away any positives, like you said, you're going to be better at technology than you were before. You're going to maybe have more engagement with your kids or more, more trust or more connections with them. Your kids are going to actually benefit from it too because they're going to be able to maybe troubleshoot things that they never thought that they would be able to, or use the tech in a different way than what they're always on the phone texting and doing Snapchat or TikTok. Like, you know, it does open up a different, realm. And then, like, testing, maybe that'll go away. Stay testing. You don't know. There's so many things I think, to look at that can be positive right now. And I don't think I don't think it's all bad. I just think that we have to look at it at a different angle.
Absolutely. I mean, one angle is we have now created 4 months worth of digital lessons. These are 4 months of lessons that some teachers wouldn't invested that time, but guess what? They have that for the rest of their career, and they can modify it, and it's going to make them better for it. It's going to make
Exactly.
everyone better. So,
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. We can continue talking about this topic because I think that we have a lot in common about it, but I don't think teachers are going to go back to the way they were teaching before. If they want to stay and as an educator, they're going to have to evolve. You know.
I mean, that's really true in any sense of living. You have to evolve. You have to adapt with the changes. You have to go with it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm as much as I'm saddened by what's going on right now. I'm very excited about what's to come and
Yeah.
where we're going to go as a profession and how much better our students are going to get
Yeah.
because of this time.
I agree. Well, let's get through this hurdle first. And
Right.
then you know what, like in 5 to 10 years from now, I bet you there's going to be some type of study on the class of 2020, 2021, and to see like how successful they were or what were some of the obstacles they had to overcome, and different things that this class would endure. And it's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, even this year, as going away for freshmen, they're going to have a little bit of something that no one else. They're the guinea pigs of everything
The
that is to come,
unknown.
of
Yeah.
the unknown.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely. It is. So I think it puts their thinking in a whole different zone,
I
you
would
know?
agree. Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, I was just reading something today of like how to find a job during these times, and what you have to become more proficient in. And this is one of them right here, video conferencing. Like being able to, because they're conducting interviews online, not face to face anymore. So different ways that the business world is handling things, that's going to end up coming down to your personality and your connections, and how you present yourself behind the screen now. So it's definitely a whole new chapter.
Absolutely.
So, well, thanks, Eric, for being on. I really enjoyed our conversation. This was great, and I definitely want to check out your website and the tech integration matrix as well, because I think it has a lot of valuable information in there that can help me, align more technology lessons with the common core areas.
If you have any questions on it, reach out. I can
Definitely.
discuss the technology integration matrix all day.
Definitely. I will definitely do that. And plus, I'll probably pick your brain about on course classroom too.
I can help you with that one as well.
So that's going to conclude our show for today. What I'm going to do is share my screen, and I'm going to show you my website. Actually, I'll go over here. All right. So if you would like to see any of my past episodes, you can go to thesweettalk.com. That's the SUITE talk.com. And on my homepage, you will see the latest episode and podcast here. And you will also see that Alice Keeler and I wrote a book called Stepping Up to Google Classroom. It's geared for beginners, so you can check that out. It's available on Amazon. A few podcasts are here on the homepage as well. If you would like to be a guest on my show, you can simply fill out the guest inquiry form. Right now, I'm scheduling for November. So you can, be a guest and pay it forward and help other educators support my mission to pay it forward. You can become a sponsor. I'm very proud to say that Slides Mania and Paula, they're sponsoring my show. Cammy's sponsoring my show, and Screencastify. So thank you for that. Um, if you go to the episode page, you'll see past episodes and show notes here. And actually, on my episode page, Eric, I used Google Data Studio.
Oh,
So
nice.
right here in the links and notes, it shows a report from Google Data Studio, which is pretty cool when it
That's
loads.
awesome.
Um, have you used it?
Not yet.
Oh, you should. It's really cool. Um, yeah, so I got rid of awesome tables. So
I'm
this
gonna definitely check that out. Yeah.
definitely check it out. I'm gonna use it this year. See how it loads it. I mean, it took a little bit of time because I'm screencasting and video conferencing, but usually it doesn't take that long. So check that out. Jamboard. If you need some Jamboard inspiration, go click on my Jamboard page and check out my idea board for Jamboard as well. You can certainly check that out and share your ideas with me so we can pay it forward and help other people use Jamboard. And that is it. So I want to thank you again, Eric, for being on.
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
I'm telling you, it was good to finally catch up. So until next time, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye.